future ready educators, let's go. All my future ready learners, let's go. All my future ready educators, let's go.
Hello everybody, I'm Ennis Johnson. I'm here at the Tomorrow Teacher, and I am going to introduce to you our instructional design model for our innovation plan. Check it out. So our subject for this instructional model is design and innovation. Now this is a course that I currently teach here at the American School of Dubai, and I teach in middle school. So it consists of 3 different courses. The first course is Design and Innovation 1. Now this course is just for 6th graders. It's on an Explorer wheel, so it lasts about 6 weeks, so pretty much half a semester. Okay, and then it rotates to a brand new set of students that come in for another half of a semester, and that happens 4 different times, so it's a very short course. The next class will be Design and Innovation Core. Now this class can consist of 7th graders and possibly even 8th graders, it just depends. Now this is a semester long course, and this course we dive deeper into what we got started with in the Design and Innovation 1 course. Then our last course is the Design and Innovation Studio class. Now the prerequisite to get in this class is Design and Innovation Core, but once you've taken that, you can get into the studio class, and this is now the most advanced class. Now by the time students get into this class, they're able to take on tougher projects, take their learning deeper, and kind of explore a little bit more within our course. Now these students are our top students who've been through the program, could be for about 3 years at this point, and now they're able to really venture off into the world of production and design, and they're able to really take on projects and make it their own without as much direction as the other courses might have needed. So our key documents for this program will be a class syllabus. Let's check that out. Next, we'll take a look at our standards and strands in which we use to assess our students in this class. Now, I would say in this program or in this course, we use both a competency-based model and an outcome-based model. Now, our class is assessed through these standards, which will be kind of a competency-based lesson. But we like to take our learning a lot deeper, and it is definitely based on outcomes, okay? Because this is design and innovation. So it really allows the students to take that learning and apply it in the way that they best see fit. Now our instructional model is based off of universal design for learning. Now in using this model, we really hone in on all 3 of the pillars of this process. Now, here's what we want to accomplish at the end of this. Students are to develop an e-portfolio. Now on this e-portfolio, it will house everything that they've done throughout the class. Now in this class, you're going to gain skills, and you're going to also come up with work samples and different projects that you have created. Now that's kind of the easy way of saying what we're going to do. But to really take that a bit deeper, we're going to talk about our gamification methods, and then using the process of students completing tasks and using digital badges to gain credentials for the skills that they have obtained. Once they obtain these skills and they turn in some kind of work sample or final prototype, which has gone through a rigorous design thinking process in order to develop, so their e-portfolio will house their digital badges as well as their work samples. So check this out. Here, as students begin the program, they are housed in Google Classroom. So students are able to go into Google Classroom into their course. So for example here, we're showing the DI6 or the Design and Innovation 1 course, and students can go in here under classwork and they can see the setup of their class. Now remember, we are separated into phases, and that's how we kind of implement our timeline on the class. So our main resource in the class will be the lesson guide. Let's check it out. All right, so here's the lesson guide, and so this is what students will see. They'll click anywhere to start, and this is how they get in. Now our first page is what we call our dashboard. Now a dashboard is where they can access all course materials. The only thing that they can't really do in here is turn in their work. So when they're actually turning in certain assignments, especially for their summative grades, they will turn that into Google Classroom. Anything else that they're doing, they're submitting it within our program that we use called Classcraft. So I'll show you a little bit about that just later. But the first thing that we want to look at is our agenda. Now this is the first place we come in every single class. Let's check it out. All right, so we're here now. This is the very first agenda, just because this class is actually about to start, so it's a great way to show how we begin. So this is our agenda, and so if you can see here, our bell ringer is truly where we start, but here you can see our learning targets for the day, so you can check that out here. All right, and it talks about what we're gonna do. So this is our very first class. Now we're not online anymore, so this is all face-to-face. But when we were online, students were able to click on this and log right into our class. Now, the beautiful thing about this this implementation plan is that it can work online, it can work face-to-face, and it can also work blended. And so we did blended last year and it worked very well. And then when we were all online, it also worked just as well also. And students can be in during the whole class, but what I really did was allow it to be like a workshop, and students can jump in and jump out, and they had a question, they can jump back in and ask and jump back out. So that's kind of how it worked. So we also have a timer here just to use whenever we need to use it, and then this tells you that we are on agenda number 1. So the first thing students are doing for our bell ringer for this class in particular is to watch this video. All right. So they watch the video, and it's just an unboxing video. Now this video basically shows them how to use the lesson guide. All right, so on number 2, the first thing students are going to do is take a briefing. Now this is one of the only times where I have students for the whole class. So they go through this lesson briefing, and then there's a supplemental nearby lesson where they'll just do certain activities. So I'm gonna just go into the briefing real quick and let's see what it looks like. All right, so this is our first briefing, and just to kind of scan through to show you what this looks like, students are going through this, and now as they're going through their courses, they look a lot like this. So the briefing talks about our unit objective, this is phase 1 of it, is intro to MSDI. We talk about what is design, they watch the video, and then this also has Nearpod activities that they would do kind of supplemental to this. What is innovation? We go through it as well. Okay, this talks about our class readiness. I teach them attention grabbers as we're going. Then it starts to talk about gamification, and this is a huge part of the learning plan that I am trying to implement. So they talk about what it is, and they watch a video. All right, and then it's time for them to get into the program that we use, which is Classcraft. So they can click there to navigate into Classcraft, and they'll kind of sign up and create their characters, and that kind of gets them started. All right, so we talk about student-centered learning a little bit, just because I want students to be connected to what we're doing and why we're doing it. All right, so we go on to talk about quests and mini courses. Now this is inside of the course, and this is important to the design of this program. So this is how we implement our choice and our voice and our personalized learning experience through this program. Now these are quests, these are found in Classcraft. Now if you can see, it's very small here, but these are different quests that students can choose when they want. And so when students click on one, they enter inside of the quest. And I'll show you a closer look at these in just a moment. So I'll let you take a look at that real quick, and then we'll move. All right, so inside of each quest, and so this is a close-up view here of one that was called MSDI headquarters. We're actually in there now, and that's where students would start. So inside we see MSDI headquarters. Once students are inside of there, there's a bunch of different stages, and students will actually enter into a stage. All right, and so in the stage, this just talks about how students would turn in their work, and they'll kind of submit it in here. And this is how they go through the design cycle. So they still go through these, and That's how they do it. So let's just take a look on this one. So this shows all those quests that we saw, and these are kind of their title graphics for each one. So that was one, MSDI headquarters. Then we have one we call Auto World, which is robotic engineering. We have Entrepreneurship Academy, which is teaching about entrepreneurship skills. We have Coders Matrix, which is coding. Obviously, Producers Paradise, media production. Design University, graphic design. We have the Digital Citizen and the Age of Technology. Now this is digital citizenship. We have the third dimension, which is 3D design. Developer's Domain, which is web design. We have Maker's Space, which is material design, and this is technically it's done in an actual maker space. And then we also have Creators Arcade, which is game design. All right, we do have some that are more popular than others, but students are able to choose whichever quest they want to go in, and then inside of each of these quests are numerous mini courses or lessons based on certain things. It starts with something basic, and then it goes on to more challenging projects and different things of that nature. We're gonna go back and we wanna check out Classcraft and what it looks like inside of Classcraft. All right, so I'm going to take you into the quest. So here we're in the quest area, and you can see how these are made. So I'm gonna just blow it up. As you can see, the same thing we just looked at, the third dimension, Coders Matrix, Creators Arcade, and things of that nature. All right, so let's check out Makerspace. So when you look in this one, you see a lot of different stages and courses, but students cannot see all of them. They can only see a few of the beginning stages. As you see a path, as you can see here, there's a pathway. They cannot make it to the next part of the path unless we approve it. So we have a rigorous design cycle where students have to get feedback from their peers. They have to get feedback from their teachers. They're literally going through the design thinking process. Once they complete the process and they've turned in a final product that covers everything they need to cover, then they are approved to move on to get a badge. So let's just take a look at one of the courses here. All right, so this course is the STEAM Factory, and so there's different projects within this course, but this will be the beginning stage. So it's loaded up, so this is STEAM Factory. All right, so it's a full course. They have videos to watch, they have things to read. They can kind of go through on their own. It talks about their understandings and expectations that's needed. It tells them the resources or the certain skills. These are other courses in other areas that they either need to take in order to get access to certain things, or it kind of just leads them to say, hey, this is what you need to do in order to complete this stage. They don't necessarily have to do it, but these would be kind of the tools and resources they would need to get this done. So these essentially are other courses in other quests. All right, but then they'll complete a task. So there's this whole slideshow that they would use, and then they complete it. So the task is shown here again, and once they complete that task, they move on to the next stage. So when we approve them, all right, so they would be here essentially, and we approve them, they would go to a stage that's called congratulations. So there'll be this graphic, and then they'll see this down here. And once they see it, they click it, they'll download, and then they get this badge here. Okay. All right, so with that being said, let's take a look at the student portfolio. All right, so this is the e-portfolio. Now this is just the template, but as students are completing things, so actually students gonna take a course to develop this e-portfolio, okay? And so they'll add all their things here. Here's where their badges would be housed. And then here's where their work would go as well, okay? So again, when a student gets a badge, sort of like that, okay, they will go to their e-portfolio, and this is just one of the things they have to do is pull their badge up. Now they have a badge, and then they put a title there. So that's kind of how that process would work throughout the class, okay? Let's take a look at our rubric. And this gives us a wider look at what happens in the class. Okay, we're actually going to look at the core. So this is our core class ePortfolio rubric. Now our core class is separated into 6 phases, which allows us to have 6 checkpoints. So during these checkpoints, we have certain badges that students should get, and then we will have like some extra badges that they can get as well. And so these kind of lead them down. This is kind of the path of what students need to do, because what happens is when they're in a course like this and they have their choice, they don't know what direction to go. And so we do have certain things that we want to direct them to get so that they can get access to more things. So these are currently what our checkpoints are, but we change these all the time according to what's the best fit for the students. And so the checkpoints are really what we need to see on the ePortfolio. And so this is what lets students know what kind of badges I need to get. These initials here are where they are. So this would be MSDI headquarters. This would be Design University. This would be Entrepreneurship Academy. This would be Makerspace. This would be Design University as well. And so we also have here our grading rubric. So this is how we are graded and the standards that we are graded by. So this would be our connecting standard, which is synthesize and relate new knowledge and personal experiences in art and design. Then we have our teaching standards here, and then these are how they're graded and what needs to be shown on the ePortfolio in order to cover the standards and the strands. Fortunately, we don't have too many, and the great thing about this is that our standards and our strands are very, very closely in line with the design thinking process. So connecting is connecting information, is empathizing, it's defining what you are going to need to know in order to create something. We move on to creating, and this is where you start to generate those ideas and come up with solutions, and you plan out things in order to create a design, and you kind of begin creating your prototype. Producing is where you kind of look at it and you kind of refine it based on that plan, and you produce it and you communicate it to your viewers. You test it, okay? And then after producing, then we get the responding to the feedback that we get from others in order to interpret it and actually apply the meaning to it, and then we're going to refine it and make it better. Lastly, a lot of students need to know where badges are, so this page kind of helps give them some direction. Now, all of this that you're seeing now is based on testing it out and seeing the kind of questions that we're getting and students trying to figure out where is what and how do we do what. So this kind of gives students a wayfinder of how to find certain badges that are asked of on these rubrics or checkpoints. So they can kind of look at this and they can look at their wayfinder to figure out where it is. So it's really a lot of front loading in this process in order for students to learn where to go. But it's really housed in Classcraft, and Classcraft is how we design everything and where it's located and how students get to it. And it's a lot of things to do. It's a lot of things to find. Therefore, we always have the lesson guide. All right, so students can navigate to everywhere they need to go within a lesson guide. And as you can see here, our lesson guides can change from time to time. This is from our DI6 course, so they're not able to go as crazy as our core and our studio classes are. We just direct them in these. Once they click it, they'll lead them straight into the course. So it kind of helps with all the different things that are here, but we really house it in this way. Okay, so this lesson guide is truly the source of all the information. So once you have access to this lesson guide, you can pretty much navigate everywhere in this course. So this is what makes everything manageable and easy. So once students get to class or whatever day it's on, the students know where to go to find out what we are doing for the day.